Okay, so ready to dive into a love story.
Kind of. It's
This
told a little differently. Like you're getting fragments, poetry, little pieces of prose all put together. We're going into With You, Without You, this book by Ulrich Schaffer. And it's all these writings about his wife, Waltraud, and her experience with dementia.
Yeah, it's really personal, not like a typical memoir, polish and all that. It's more like Ulrich is right there with you, figuring this huge thing out. And his love for Waltraud, it's on every page.
And the thing is, he's a writer. That's his job. So it's like he's using language as this tool, not just to get what's happening to her, but how it changes them together. What it does to him.
Exactly. He's trying to put words to these feelings, emotions. Most people wouldn't even go there. But there's this celebration of their connection, too, especially who they were before the dementia. Almost 60 years they had together. 60 years, and not just any 60 years. I mean, these two, they were connected intellectually, loved the same things, books, ideas, those late night talks most people just imagine having.
It's funny, there's this image he uses early on. He says meeting her is like the coordinates of her soul, gave direction to his flying arrow.
Intense, right, even after all that time. And he means it. He talks about this night. Years in, they're walking, city lights behind them, and they're deciding if this is it, like together. He writes about it like it was yesterday, not 40 years ago.
And that's what makes the dementia so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You see how clearly Ulrich holds on to those memories and those moments. Waltraud recognizes him, even as the disease takes more and more.
Start small, right? Forgetting a word, asking the same question twice. Stuff we all probably do and ignore.
But Ulrich, he's so tuned into language, he notices how her sentences just stop it. How she uses her hands more. Touch. Not the words they used to have.
And then it's more than words. He's describing her trying to button her sweater, needing help to eat. Basic stuff becomes this struggle. There's even a part where Waltraud's seeing things, a young boy, and you can tell Ulrich is desperate to make that make sense with the woman he knows is still there. Somewhere.
It's heavy, watching someone you love slip away like that. But the amazing thing is, Ulrich never stops trying to connect with her, wherever she's at.
He looks for those little joys, right? Like he'll talk about combing her hair, holding her hand when they read. Tiny things that become huge in all of this.
And he is so protective of her dignity. Even when she needs more help, he's firm that she's independent, still her.
He says, straight up, what your heart has established in all of your life is not canceled out by moments of weakness. Just stummining.
Get you right there. Because that's the story, isn't it? Love that illness changes, but can't erase. Makes you think about how we even define love when you can't use the same language anymore.
But even with all that love, it's rough when you can't connect, and Ulrich talks about how frustrating it is for both of them. Made me think, how much do we need words to make love real? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like their thing, right? This back and forth, ideas.
Yeah.
So when Waltraud gets stuck, he says it's like thoughts slipping away. And he's losing that, not just her.
And he doesn't try to act like it's all sadness. He gets frustrated too. Like, what are you supposed to say when someone's whole reality is different? Sometimes nothing.
There's this part, so honest, he says, I am not a writer. I notice how dependent I am on a conversation in which my thoughts develop by the thoughts of the person opposite me. It's like he's missing their old way of talking as much as anything.
And that's where writing, it's like this lifeline he finds. He even says writing lets him show the love that's hard to say, like a letter only he gets, but it's connecting them in a way words can't anymore.
It becomes how he handles this.
Yeah.
Huge grief that's building. Not just the talking, but knowing he'll lose Waltraud completely.
Yeah.
And he doesn't shy away from that, which I respect.
No, he goes right at it. There's that line, they're making themselves at home in time as though we wanted to stay here forever. Knowing it's risky,
Yeah.
Beautiful but scary.
And you see the writer in him coming out. He wants to haul up the anchor and head for the other shore, like escape the pain, but also he's accepting what's coming, the unknown. And maybe that's okay.
He finds some peace in their beliefs, right? They're curious about the next round, whatever that is. Even talking about death becomes this shared thing.
Totally. He says they find peace together knowing it's coming.
Yeah.
But even so, you read the entries after she's gone. It's rough, man. Raw grief.
He just says it. Profound sense of loss. I mean, yeah. But he's also going to keep her memory alive. Not just how she was at the end, but them, their whole life.
It's like their conversation is still milling, in a way. He's just holding both sides of it now, Really something.
And this is where I think we get something from this, even if we haven't lived it. It makes us face our own ideas about love, how we handle change.
What does it mean to know someone, for real? Especially as they change. not just from being sick, but life in general. It's their story, but the questions are for all of us.
It's like he's taking these huge questions, love, change, stuff we all deal with, but he's actually putting words to it.
And what gets me, he's not claiming to have the answers. He's in it, figuring it out as he goes, which honestly, that's more helpful for anyone listening who's been there too, right?
Oh, totally. He's real about the tough stuff, which we need more of. It's not all like holding hands and poetry readings. There's doubt, frustration. He even says at one point he feels like he's unlearning their whole life.
Yeah, that one hit hard. But also, I get it. When someone changes that much, even if it's from being sick, you got to change how you love them too. Like starting over, but with all that history still there.
Yeah. There's this part, and it just stuck with me. I want to learn not to make my closeness to you dependent on your closeness to me. Man, if that ain't love, I don't know what is. He's realizing he has to find his own way to be close to her, even if she can't do it the same way back.
And that is asking a lot, but he does it.
Yeah.
Not perfectly, he'd say that himself, but he chooses love when it's hard, when it's not what he thought it'd be. We could all learn from that.
Makes you wonder how we decide if love worked, right? Is it staying the same forever? Or is it more about shifting with the changes, finding the connection, even if it's just these little moments?
And those moments, that's where Ulrich finds meaning, even when things are falling apart. He talks about being present, the beauty in the everyday. It's not pretending the loss isn't there, but seeing the light in it anyway.
And he wants us to do that too. He says to look for the truth behind the speechlessness. Like even when it's messy, we don't have the words. There's still meaning if we pay attention.
It's like he's saying it's okay to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
that we don't know. Even in loss, there's something to learn, to hold on to.
So thinking about all this love story in pieces, here's something to sit with. At the end, Ulrich says he wants to unlearn his whole life, to drown and maybe come up different. What do you think he means? And could that be a way forward for any of us after loss, even if it's not dementia, but, any kind of big loss?
Powerful image.
Right.
Maybe it's about letting go of who we thought we were, what we thought life would be, so there's space for something new. Not to replace what's gone, but to let it change us. Makes you think, that's for sure.
It does. And it makes you realize even in the toughest spots, there's still beauty, still things to learn. Thanks for diving deep with us into With You, Without You. It's a book that stays with you. And for more deep dives into the books that make us think, make us feel, make us human, stick around.